Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty hilarious show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want today's full show before it comes out on YouTube, it is streamed for free on the DREAMERSPRO podcast that we have pinned below. Anyway, let me get into this conversation here. So this is going to be the last show of the year. Most likely, if you're watching this show, you're probably watching it after the show we published before. So this will be the last show of the year. So what happened? We recently produced this show on Shannon Sharpe and Gilbert Arenas saying that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a better player than Kawhi Leonard, and I think yesterday Gilbert Arenas did a rebuttal show about it, whatever. But I want to talk about something I've been noticing, right? Which is this. Not as at the end of the year, I'm just going to give you guys my honest and raw thoughts, and then to hell with whoever thinks what. We're going to be back on the 8th, so whatever. I'll listen to what you got to say when we get back. For as much as I enjoy doing sports media, and it's fun, although it's very competitive, it's nonstop. When you're not producing content, you're thinking about it 24/7. So anybody that produces content, they'll tell you this for free. It's a grind, right? It's a grind, a real grind. But one of the things I've noticed is over the last 3 years or so, that I've noticed that most people out here are not really saying what they think. That's number one. Number two, other people are saying things that push certain agendas. Now, when we came into the business, we didn't have any ties. We weren't connected to anybody, nothing like that, right? So we were just speaking from a fan's perspective on a sport that I enjoy watching since I was a young kid, right? And I thought that, okay, if we're going to be talking sports, Kobe's my favorite guy. I've been watching the way people in the media have been trying to tarnish his legacy over the years and just basically putting out falsehoods, being led by people like Nick Wright, Shannon Sharpe, and others. I said that if I have an opportunity to have a platform, I'm going to give my perspective. And I believe it's a perspective that a lot of people hold, right? One of those views was, I think Kobe Bryant is top 3 all time. Right? I think he's top 3. I got Jordan number 1. I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar number 2. And I got Kobe Bryant number 3. When we started saying that, it started to cause some serious malfunctions in some people's brains that were used to getting their information and basically being, pacified by people on television, telling them this, telling them that, telling them this, telling them that. Here's what I think. Listen, I think there's a truth, and I think that there's the truth that people want you to believe. That's what I think. And it's quite transparent if you're looking at it with a skeptical, critical eye. You got to understand, you got to ask yourself the question, why do people say the things that they say? Why? If you look at a person like Shannon Sharpe, and Shannon Sharpe brought up a very good point. And by the way, before I even get into Shannon Sharpe's point, I've been saying it for years, that I think that Shannon Sharpe is arguably the best in the business. You can go pull up the shows. If Shannon Sharpe sees this himself, he can go pull up the shows. I've been saying that. The one thing I have said, however, is that I think Shannon Sharpe is hilarious. I think he's charismatic. I think he's all of these things. However, I think he totally loses it when he starts talking about LeBron. I've said this religiously. And I'm not going to change my opinion. I'm not going to do that because that's what I believe. Shannon brought up a very, very good point. He said the other day that somebody said he was talking about DREAMERSPRO. I said, I don't think that highly of myself. I don't think he was talking about us. Where he said that he doesn't understand why. Okay, he's not going to respond to people to give him the audience, which I totally understand. He said, but he doesn't understand why you're using his name in titles and all of that stuff to talk, right? Just like, why are you using my name? And I thought that was a very facetious, short-sighted position to take, and I'll tell you why. No one would care what Shannon Sharpe has to say if he wasn't talking about somebody else. If Shannon Sharpe sat up there and started talking about himself on all of his shows, what movies he likes to watch, what cars he likes to drive, what food he likes to eat, people will tune out. People will tune out. People want to hear what you think about other people in other situations. That's pretty much how media works. That's pretty much how it works. You go on ESPN to talk about not yourself, to talk about other people. Right? That's pretty much how it works. You go on CNN, they're talking about other people. You go on Fox, still to talk. So to say that is like you're saying, well, you wouldn't be anything without talking about me, and I'm saying you wouldn't have a show if you were just sitting up there talking about yourself. Nobody cares to that extent. The figures of interest are the people that we discuss. What makes people decide to listen to one person or the other is just basically your personality and how you deliver the information. That's the fact. So when he said that, I didn't understand what he was talking about when he brought up that point. But Shannon Sharpe has been one of those people that witnessed Michael Jordan in his greatness. So for him to come out there and say LeBron is better than Jordan, and to say some of the stuff that he said about Kobe, Gilbert Arenas. The thing about Gilbert Arenas is this: Gilbert Arenas obviously is very funny. He has his style of producing content. People love it, and he's doing very well for himself. Has one of the top basketball podcasts in the world. The only thing I gotta ask about Gilbert, because Gilbert knows, like, you know, I'm a Kobe guy and all of that, and he's done shows doing his highlights, scoring a 60 against Kobe. And I've always asked, and I even asked on some of the shows, I'm like, are you suggesting that you're what? Better than Kobe Bryant? I'm confused. I know that's not what you're suggesting. We're talking about a top 5 guy. You're not saying that. So I know Gilbert is not saying that. So when he says some of the stuff that he says about Kobe or Jordan, it really makes me wonder. And then I started to realize, listen, the reason Gilbert Arenas says some of these stuff about Jordan and Kobe and these guys is to elevate LeBron. That's it. What made it clear was the day Shannon Sharpe pushed back on LeBron James on ESPN First Take, and Gilbert Arenas said he went, why are you going at Shannon? I'm like, LeBron, I'm like, is he not supposed, or is what's in the contract? You can only say, I'm confused. Is he only supposed to say nice things about him? Or what? The other thing I got to say, man, and I got to ask, would you have been saying this if Kobe was around to defend his name? This is the question. Would you have been saying the things you say if Kobe was alive and walking around? Would you have done a 2-hour live talking about how you roasted Kobe? Would you have? This is the question I want to know. Because where was all of this? Even when he had those great highlight games, where was all of this about beat Kobe? Where was it at? Really, would you have invited Kobe Bryant on the Gills Arena and talked about how you cooked him and all of that? How he wasn't okay? Of course you wouldn't. If you invited Michael Jordan on the show, would you be telling him this? Of course you wouldn't. You would not. So I'm asking, why are you doing all of this when the man is not here to even defend his name? That's just one of the questions I have. But I think that these guys understand, listen, we need to find a way to make this thing about LeBron and Jordan. And the only way for us to do this, realistically do this, is that we got to remove one person out of the conversation, and that's Kobe Bryant. Now, there have been people in media over the last 10 years that have tried, and they've been relentless about it, to try to convince people that somehow LeBron is way better than Kobe, and we didn't witness what we saw. It's total BS. It's total BS. And they've convinced people that I believe they never watched Kobe Bryant play. Those were people that were already impressionable. If you saw those two guys play in their prime, I don't know how you can come to that conclusion. I just don't know. I mean, to me, I don't see it. So Kobe was a guy that they had to hate on to elevate LeBron. But what I think they're beginning to realize is, with the advent of social media and these various platforms, people are now beginning to push back against the narrative. That's what's happening, essentially. Every day I look up, I'm seeing one person or another creating their own platform and pushing back on the narrative. People are sick of it. They're like, nah, like, you saying this, but we know it's not the truth, so we gonna push back on you. And that's essentially what's happening. They can't control the narrative any longer. And in the next 5 years, one or two things is going to happen. Other people are going to continue to go out there and put their voices out, or the system is going to choke out those other voices and allow a few people to have an opinion, which is essentially what they do on television. And to me, it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. But I know the reason that these guys hate on Kobe is to elevate. That's the only reason they do it. And to listen to a Shannon Sharpe say, who once compared Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, he said, in this order, I have I have God, Jordan, and Kobe. And then all of a sudden his tune changed. I got to ask the question, why? What happened to what? So what? I'm confused. You got me lost. and the Gilbert Arenas saying all of this spicy stuff about Kobe, man, why didn't you say this when the man was here to defend his name? Why didn't you say this? This is what I'm trying to figure out. Because now we're trying to make it look like a top 10, like a top 5 dude was just some dude. And that I believe does a disservice to the fans, because you're watering down the greatness of Kobe Bryant. That's the problem. You're talking about one of the 5 best players ever. And to then just try to make a mockery out of him, you disrespect the sport. And by doing that, if we're saying that Kobe wasn't really all that good, then what was everybody else? Because he's for damn sure better than anybody talking about him. So what was everybody else? If Kobe wasn't that dude, what was everybody else? If Kobe wasn't great, what was everybody else? If MJ wasn't all of that, what is everybody else? This is the problem. We're destroying the sport just to elevate somebody we like. That is a problem. These are my thoughts. Happy New Year. Whoever feel a type of way, leave your comment in the comment section, and I'm going to catch y'all next year. Peace.